Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Now we'll take up the gentleman at the jail, Brian Schrober.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Long time no see.
Okay. All right, Mr. Schrober, we're on the record in 2024 CR 132. And the case caption is State of Kansas versus Brian Lee Schrober. County Attorney Jill Gillette for the state. Mr. Schrober appears in person in custody at the Greenwood County Jail. And pro se, I thought, Mr. Schrober, you might be appearing from Missouri. Are you still in custody in Missouri?
No, Your Honor.
Good.
I was released from prison in Missouri on November 11th, and I had this warrant over here. So I was picked up by St. Louis County, Missouri, waived extradition, and was brought over here on Friday evening. If I may speak about the history of this case was previously filed under a different case number last year. I sat here for a couple months. You reduced my bond to $5,000. I was able to work it out through a bondsman for 10%. I had the warrant in Missouri for my prison case over there. I had an extradition hearing. I waived extradition. I went to Missouri. I've been in custody since I've been over there. I believe it was this past June you dismissed the case, something to do with the labs not being back. The Miss Gillette refiled the case in July. We noticed on the portal online that it was refiled, and I had a first appearance scheduled for August. So I did everything in my power. I went to my case manager at the prison. She contacted records. Records said the court clerk had to contact the prison. I got on the phone to my family. My family contacted the Greenwood court clerk, notified them. Greenwood court clerk notified the prison. And the prison told me, we don't do Zoom. We don't have Zoom. All we have is Blue Jeans. Despite my arguments about an app on their desktop, I wasn't able to make first appearance. I did send a letter of incarceration over from DOC, which on the portal, it shows that the court's received on the 8th of November.
Okay.
Like I said, this case was previously filed under a different case number. I never violated my bond. I tried everything I could to appear for first appearance.
Okay. Well, all right, Mr. Schrober, I do have a copy of the complaint in front of me, complaint and information filed July 16th of 24. And in count one, the state is alleging unlawful possession of the controlled substance methamphetamine, a level 5 drug felony, which carries a sentence, if you were to be convicted, 10 months up to 42 months in prison and up to $100,000 fine. It is alleged that that crime occurred on August 5th of 2023, as you said, over a year ago. And count two, you're accused of theft of a 2006 Ford F-250 with a value between $1,500 and $25,000. It doesn't allege who the owner was, but it's filed as a level 9 person felony, which means if you were convicted, you could serve anywhere from 5 to 17 months in DOC and pay up to $100,000. In count three, you're accused of unlawful possession of a vape pen, rolling paper, spoon, and metal container for the purposes of storing or containing, ingesting a controlled substance. That's a B non-person misdemeanor. That means the sentence would be to the county jail and could be up to 6 months. On count four, you're accused of driving while suspended. This is a B misdemeanor. The fine is anywhere from $100 to $1,000, and the sentence could be up to 6 months in the county jail. Count five is charged as operating a motor vehicle without proof of liability insurance, another B misdemeanor. Its minimum fine required, if convicted, is $300 and could be again up to $1,000 and 6 months in jail. Count six accuses you of unlawful possession of the controlled substance marijuana, or THC, and it's a Class B non-person misdemeanor. 6 months possible jail sentence, $1,000 possible fine. Count 7 accuses you of transporting in a moving automobile a container of, well, 2 bottles of Fireball, an alcoholic beverage, and that is charged as an unclassified misdemeanor. The penalty can be anywhere up to $200 in fines and anywhere from 30 days to 6 months in jail. In count 8, you are accused of operating a vehicle that was not registered on the highway or roadways of the county. This is an unclassified misdemeanor. It has special penalties. The fine could be up to $2,500. The sentence could be 30 days to 6 months. Count 9, you're accused of speeding 86 in a 65 mile per hour construction zone. This is a scheduled fine. It does not carry jail time. The construction zone doubles the fine. So those are the charges you're looking at. And are you going to be hiring an attorney or applying for a court appointed?
Your Honor, I'll apply for court appointed, and I ask that Richard Paul be reappointed since he's familiar with the case and I've already worked with him on it.
All right. You've been in prison since I saw you on that extradition back to Missouri.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you haven't any income?
No.
Okay, I will appoint counsel, and my assistant Missy will see if Mr. Paul is available to take it, because I agree that makes sense that he have the case since he's already familiar. And Missy, what do we need? PHC?
Yes, how about December 6th at 1:30?
Okay, your next setting will be December, you said 6 or 16?
6th.
6 at 1:30. Talk to Mr. Paul before then. And so you have your attorney and your court date. We think you have your attorney. We know you're getting one. And then the other issue is bond. Do we have a bond set in this, deputy or Miss Gillette?
No, it's a no bond.
It says must see judge.
Okay, all right.
Failure to
So-
appear.
Tell me, okay, all of Missouri is done. You don't have, you're not on paper for anything else?
I'm beyond Missouri parole for 1 year from the 11th. However, I can get that interstate compacted to Kansas. There was a situation where the judge in Missouri gave me credit of 417 days jail credit in a court order. DOC refused to honor it. So I served an extra 13 and a half months in prison on my case. My case I should have been paroled September of last year and off parole September of this year. But DOC refused to honor that. So I have a petition of writ of mandamus pending in state capitol, Missouri right now. I'm hoping to get a decision on that pretty soon, since it's an extraordinary remedy. Once that happens, they rule in my favor. I got all the statutes and the judgment order to back me up. They should let me off parole. That's the hope.
All right, well, they've already, sentenced you or released you to parole?
Yes.
Deputy, is the deputy there with you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Deputy, he does not have any other holds?
no.
I don't have any holds at all. I'm on parole. There's no parole hold.
Okay. When you go on parole, what did they establish as your residence?
Since I was paroling to a detainer, as soon as I'm released from Kansas, I'm supposed to contact the Interstate Compact Unit in Missouri and discuss living in Kansas or living in Missouri.
All right, Ms. Gillette, what has the state to say about this unusual predicament?
He's had a lot of holds everywhere. And his search results, I don't know what has happened with the cases from Wyandotte County. I don't know if he has a hold from there. And then there's cases from Johnson County, but they go back to 2020. So I don't think there is current.
If I may, I think the deputy said he did not have any other holds at this time.
No, Your Honor, and this is the only case that I have pending. The Wyandotte County cases were dismissed last year, In the Johnson County cases that were resolved, I went to prison on them. I finished my parole on them. This is the
Okay.
only case that I have pending.
Right, well, we've interrupted her, so let's let her go back to.
Excuse me.
He just has a lot of different cases that have been everywhere. I do have a wonder if he's gonna grab more cases or run. I mean, he's had holds from everywhere to have to go take care of, and that shows a long history of failing to comply with bond conditions and failing to appear. So because he's been out of state so much and has cases everywhere, I would ask for a $40,000 cash or professional surety.
Your Honor, if I may speak,
Go ahead.
I was previously incarcerated in this case here in Greenwood County. My bond was initially set at 25,000. I sat in jail for some time. You had reduced it to 5,000, and that's what I was able to post on through a bondsman. The cases that she's talking about, as far as everywhere, were Wyandotte County, Johnson County, and then Clay County, Missouri, which are all within a 30-mile radius of each other, except for Shawnee County, which was 40 minutes down the highway. So it's not as if I'm just all over the place. It's really within a 30-mile travel radius. Last time we seen each other, you agreed that 5,000 was sufficient, and I posted on it. Since I've been,
But then you failed to appear again.
only because I was in custody. You knew,
That's not generally a very good excuse.
Your Honor, when I left here, I had an extradition hearing, and the court was aware that I had to go to Missouri. While I was in Missouri, you dismissed the case and the prosecutor refiled. So I couldn't appear while in custody. I made every attempt that I could. I never got out of custody. The courts received a letter of incarceration that I sent over here on the 8th. This is my first time ever having a failure to appear while I was in custody. I've never been on bond in any of my cases and violated the terms of my bond. I've never violated any terms or conditions of any of my bonds anytime.
Ms. Gillette, are you seeing any failures to appear on there?
Judge, not breaking the law is a condition of bond. He's
Say that, please.
had cases all over the place on these cases. He's had Wyandotte, Shawnee, Johnson, Greenwood, Missouri. His case history goes back to when he was a kid. His criminal history goes back to when he was a kid. I think the earliest I've seen is 2008 and 2007. And it's been consistent except for when he's in jail. And he's been in another state waiting to be extradited back to Kansas. I'm asking for a 40,000 cash or surety bond. Him saying how many times he's been in jail and where all he's been had to move to take care of probation violations, getting his cases finished, getting his cases pled across 2 states is not helping me want to change. I initially wanted to say $50,000, but I said 40 instead because he's here finally. But it doesn't help him to have this kind of a list of history plus what's in Missouri. I mean,
Not to mention the charges, the number of charges, the type of charges. Well, thank you. What I'm going to do is set it at 40,000, Mr. Trober. Contact your attorney, and if he thinks that it is of any, if there's any justification in bringing it back for modification, he can get that set with me.
Your Honor, may I ask what circumstances have changed since my last bond modification hearing?
Well, what has happened is you failed to appear,
Because I was still incarcerated.
and Ms. Gillette has just given me a list of cases that I may or may not have considered last time.
Ms. Gillette
The
was very,
sheriff has had to incur the expense of sending equipment and manpower to Missouri. So I'm gonna leave it at 40,000, and then you contact Mr. Paul, and he may be able to convince me to modify it, but that's where we're gonna start.
yes, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Deputy, if you'll make sure he gets the opportunity to call his attorney. Of course, let Missy check though, make sure Mr. Paul will take it and that she'll have to reappoint him.
Okay,
All right, thank you. But by the end of the week, this is Tuesday, certainly by Thursday or Friday, you'll know for sure where you stand on that.
alrighty.
Okay, thank you. This gentleman is excused.
And Judge, you said 40,000?
I said 40,000 like you did, yes.